Howdy, my friends. I just wanted to talk to you about the new Godzilla movie that just came out the other day. Godzilla Kong, New Empire. Boy, howdy, I tell you what, I sure am excited. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. What a time to be a Godzilla fan right now. About 3, 4 months ago, we got Godzilla -1, which is just about as peak cinema as you can get, showing that giant monster movies can be serious, like drama, serious film, and taken seriously in the cinemascape, as it were. But then, a couple months later, we get the most schlocky, action-packed, Showa era type of Godzilla movie we could get with this new Empire film. And it was so much fun. Now, I am a biased source of information for this. If you don't know me, and you can't tell from looking behind me, I'm a big Godzilla fan. So take with a grain of salt. You know, if you're not a fan of the giant monster thing, you're not going to like this new Empire movie. But if you like giant monster stuff, you're going to love it. It's got a whole lot of action, and it just starts out with it. It starts out with action with Kong, action with Godzilla. You're on board for both. This movie is driven by Kong. He is the protagonist, but Godzilla is in it just as much, and although not as much of a focus, he still is a force in this film. Man, he's just so cool. There's a wonderful surprise halfway through the film where we get a real cool monster that has not been shown in any of the trailers, in any of the media, or any merchandising or nothing. It's a true surprise, and I was overjoyed with it. It's just so cool. But I ain't going to spoil that here. What I will spoil, because it's right off the bat and it's just so cool, as soon as the movie starts, we get a cool fight between Godzilla and Skyla, the spider crustacean monster that we saw a tiny glimpse of in King of the Monsters and has been featured in the legendary comic books. And that's what's cool about this movie, is we get to see several monsters that are prominent in all the comic books, and we get to see them on film finally. And so that thrilled me. We also see Tiamat later in the movie, and that's real cool. And yeah, I ain't gonna spoil too much. You're gonna go see this movie if you like Godzilla. So I just want to say I had a good time with it. I thought the Scar King was a lot more of an effective villain than I thought he would be just from seeing the trailer. Man, yeah, he's actually real good. I have not disliked a Godzilla villain like that since Space Godzilla, who I got a poster of behind me, so I like him. And when I say dislike, it's like you love to hate him. He's a good villain. And what's cool is Kong has so much personality in this film, and he drives everything. There's a lot of humans in this movie, but they don't drag the movie down. They thankfully ditched the Stranger Things girl plot, her and her dad. That was so dour. But it focuses on the Islander girl from the last Kong Godzilla fight movie, the girl who was the survivor of the Skull Island tribe, and the adoptive mother who's studying Kong. It focuses on them, and they bring back the chubby conspiracy theorist from the last movie, but he's not nearly as annoying in this film. I actually found his comedic bits somewhat funny and less eye roll inducing. But no, he is actually my favorite of the human people. Maybe I just have something in common with him. I don't know what it is. But I tell you what, it was a heck of a lot of fun. The Suku character, the Kong Jr., he was wonderful. I thought from watching the trailer, I was like, oh boy, here we go. But no, he was great. You're going to love him after you watch this. Everything's so cool. My biggest complaint about the film, and this might sound silly, is that there's so much focus in the hollow earth and all that crazy what have you, that you kind of lose scale of the monsters, because when it's just a bunch of monsters, in this monster jungle fantasy world, you don't get a sense of scale. But once we get onto the surface, and when we are there, the sense of scale comes back, and it is heavy duty. And like when you see some of this stuff in comparison to Godzilla or Kong next to it, and then think about the actual scope of it, it's like holy moly. But yeah, this movie's so much fun. A polar opposite of Godzilla Minus One, which just came out a short while ago, and that again was a wonderful, serious film. Had so much in common with the original Gojira film, but as great as the original Godzilla movie is, I don't put that on my regular rotation. What's on my regular rotation is Godzilla, uh, you know, Terror of Mechagodzilla, Ebra, Horror of the Deep, uh, and Monster Zero. Those are my go-tos for the classic show, and my absolute favorite to watch and just put on for a good time is Final Wars. Final Wars is my favorite Godzilla. So if that says anything about my taste in films, but this movie is up there with the likes of Final Wars, where it's just going on regular rotation because it's a hell of a lot of fun. None of the human stuff drags the movie down. It has tons of cool monster plot, and so much of the plot itself is just driven by Kong as a giant monster character, and he is awesome. You're rooting for him in every scene. Like he's just so cool. This is a great movie. You're gonna have a blast if you like giant monster stuff at all. Like the best giant monster thing I've seen in forever is still Pacific Rim. That first Pacific Rim totally captured everything wonderful about the genre as far as serious drama, lighthearted action, and a sense of scope with these creatures and how heavy and massive they are. But you know what? This movie right here, I think this might be the movie that it's not as good as Pacific Rim, but it's the most fun I've had with a giant monster movie in a theater since Pacific Rim. And I got to see it more than once, and we'll see how it tests through time. But man, I loved it, and I have a feeling you're going to love it too when you watch it. And I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to like it even more when I see it a second, third, and fourth time. Well, anyhow, we'll talk to you later, and have fun with Godzilla.